Listen to me. Everything you're praying for, everything you're working for, everything you're losing sleep over, it is not being delayed by life. It is being delayed by your grip, by the tension in your mind, by the fear in your chest, by the need to control what was never meant to be controlled. You don't get what you want by chasing it with desperation. You get it when you finally breathe and release. See, the universe, life, God, whatever you believe in, it doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to alignment. And alignment doesn't happen when you're holding on with white knuckles, replaying the past, worrying about the future, trying to micromanage every outcome. Alignment happens when you make the bold decision to let go of what you can't control and step fully into what you can. Most people are exhausted not because they're working too hard, but because they're carrying too much. Regret from yesterday, anxiety about tomorrow, expectations that were never theirs to hold. And all of that weight is blocking the very door they're trying to open. Here's the truth they never told you. The moment you stop chasing, life starts moving. The moment you release, opportunities appear. The moment you trust, doors open. You were never meant to force your destiny. You were meant to become the person who can receive it. And that transformation begins the second you decide, today, right now, that you're done gripping fear, done wrestling the past, done trying to control the outcome, and ready to step into the flow of who you were always meant to be. Letting go is not losing control. It is the moment you finally gain it, because real control does not come from gripping life tighter. It comes from mastering your response to it. Most people believe that holding on gives them safety, stability, and certainty. But in reality, it creates tension, anxiety, and exhaustion. When you're constantly trying to manage every detail, predict every outcome, and protect yourself from every possible disappointment, you are not in control at all. You are being controlled by fear. Letting go breaks that cycle. It shifts your power from the outside world back into your hands, where it belongs. Think about how much energy is wasted trying to force situations, people, and outcomes to go the way you want. The more you push, the more resistance you feel. The tighter you hold, the more fragile everything becomes. Letting go does not mean you stop caring, stop trying, or stop taking responsibility. It means you stop confusing effort with struggle. You still act, but now your actions are guided by clarity instead of panic, by purpose instead of pressure, by faith instead of fear. When you release the need to control everything, you create space for better decisions, deeper focus, and stronger emotional stability. True control is the ability to remain calm in chaos, steady in uncertainty, and grounded in the middle of change. You cannot reach that state while your mind is tangled in expectations and your heart is chained to outcomes. Letting go loosens those chains. It allows you to respond instead of react, to choose instead of panic, to observe instead of explode. The moment you stop trying to dominate life and start learning from it, you become powerful in a way no amount of external control could ever give you. When you let go, you stop fighting the present and start working with it. You recognize that some things are not yours to command, but your attitude, your focus, your discipline, and your effort always are. That realization is freedom. That is real control. You move through obstacles with patience instead of frustration, with strategy instead of stress, with confidence instead of doubt. You stop being shaken by every delay, every opinion, every unexpected turn, because your stability is no longer built on what happens to you, but on who you choose to be within it. Letting go removes the illusion that you must carry the entire world on your shoulders. It teaches you that surrendering the things you cannot control gives you more strength for the things you can. And in that balance between effort and trust, action and acceptance, you finally experience what real control feels like. Most people block their own destiny by gripping fear, regret, and expectations too tightly, and they don't even realize it because those emotions feel familiar, even comfortable, like armor they've been wearing for years. Fear convinces you that you must stay where you are. Regret traps you in what is already past, and expectations lock you into outcomes that exist only in your mind. Together, they create an invisible cage that limits your movement, your vision, and your potential. You may be working hard, dreaming big, and planning constantly. But if your mind is still anchored to fear of failure, regret over mistakes, and rigid expectations of how life should unfold, you're quietly standing in the way of your own growth. Fear is the first gatekeeper. It tells you not to try, not to risk, not to step beyond what is familiar. It disguises itself as caution, but its real job is to keep you small. Regret is the second weight you carry, replaying old choices, missed chances, and painful moments until they become part of your identity. Instead of learning from the past and moving forward, you live inside it. Expectations complete the trap. You imagine exactly how things should happen, who should act a certain way, when success should arrive, and what life owes you. When reality refuses to follow your script, frustration grows, motivation fades, and hope weakens. The truth is, your destiny cannot meet you while your hands are full of yesterday's pain and tomorrow's worries. You cannot receive new opportunities if your mind is crowded with old stories. When you grip fear, regret, and expectations, you are not protecting yourself. You are preventing yourself. You are telling life that you do not trust the process, that you do not trust your own ability to adapt, and that you are more comfortable with control than with growth. But growth requires space. It requires surrender. It requires the courage to step forward without knowing exactly how everything will turn out. When you begin to release these inner burdens, something powerful happens. Your vision becomes clearer, your decisions become stronger, and your confidence becomes quieter but unshakable. You stop asking, "What if it goes wrong?" and start asking, "What if this changes everything?" You stop dragging your past behind you and start building your future in front of you. You stop demanding that life obey your expectations and start listening to what life is offering. This is the moment your destiny stops being an idea and starts becoming a direction, a movement, a reality shaped by courage, presence, and trust in yourself. And the journey ahead life starts working for you when you stop trying to force it and start trusting the process. Because forcing comes from fear while trusting comes from strength. When you force outcomes, you move with tension, urgency, and anxiety, always feeling like something is about to fall apart. You try to control every detail, rush every decision, and demand immediate results, believing that if you slow down or loosen your grip, everything will collapse. But life does not flow under pressure. It flows under alignment. When your actions are guided by trust instead of panic, your energy changes, your focus sharpens, and your path becomes clearer. Forcing creates resistance. You push against circumstances, against people, against time itself, and that resistance drains your spirit. Trusting the process does not mean sitting still or giving up responsibility. It means doing your part with discipline and patience, then allowing results to unfold without fear. You continue to work, plan, and commit, but now your effort is steady instead of frantic, intentional instead of desperate. This shift transforms how you experience challenges. Instead of viewing obstacles as signs to quit or panic, you begin to see them as guidance, redirection, and preparation. When you trust the process, you stop measuring your progress by how fast things are happening and start measuring it by how much you're growing. You become more adaptable, more resilient, and more open to opportunities you never expected. Your mind quiets. Your confidence strengthens. You stop chasing validation and start building substance. Even setbacks lose their power over you because you understand that every delay, every failure, every unexpected turn is shaping your character, sharpening your skills, and strengthening your foundation. Life responds differently to those who trust. You attract better people, clearer opportunities, and stronger solutions, not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you become wiser in how you move through it. You listen more. You react less. You choose with intention instead of impulse. You understand that what is meant for you cannot be forced, rushed, or stolen, and what is not meant for you cannot be saved by pressure. The moment you stop wrestling the present and start cooperating with it, you unlock a deeper sense of peace and purpose. You stop living in survival mode and start moving with direction. You realize that the journey itself is not an obstacle to your success. It is the process that creates it. And when your heart finally accepts that, life begins to meet you with clarity, momentum, and a quiet confidence that carries you forward without fear your next breakthrough is waiting on the other side of release. Because every major transformation in your life requires you to loosen your grip on who you were, what you believed, and how you thought things had to happen. Most people are standing inches away from their greatest opportunity, yet they are frozen because they refuse to release the familiar. They cling to old habits, old identities, old fears, and old comfort zones, not realizing that what once protected them is now limiting them. Growth demands space, and space is created when you let go of what no longer serves the person you are becoming. Holding on feels safe, but it quietly keeps you stuck. You keep repeating the same patterns, expecting different results, wondering why nothing changes. The reason is simple. Nothing can enter your life while your hands are full. Your next level of success, peace, clarity, and purpose requires new thinking, new discipline, and new courage. None of that can fully arrive until you release the mental and emotional baggage of your past. When you let go of resentment, you gain freedom. When you release doubt, you gain confidence. When you surrender the need for approval, you gain self-respect. Each act of release removes another invisible barrier between you and the life you are meant to live. Breakthroughs are rarely loud. They do not always come with fireworks or applause. Often they arrive quietly, disguised as endings, discomfort, or uncertainty. You outgrow people, situations, and versions of yourself, and that transition can feel like loss. But what you are really losing is limitation. What you're really gaining is expansion. When you release the urge to control every outcome, you open yourself to possibilities you never would have allowed before. You start seeing doors where you once saw walls. You start noticing chances where you once saw threats. Letting go also builds trust in yourself. It teaches you that you can survive change, that you can adapt, and that you can rise again even when nothing looks familiar. That confidence becomes the foundation for every future decision. You stop moving from fear and start moving from faith. You stop shrinking your dreams to fit your comfort and start expanding your courage to match your vision. The moment you finally release what is weighing you down, you step into a lighter, stronger, clearer version of yourself. And in that space, where fear no longer dominates, where the past no longer defines you, where control no longer chains you, your next breakthrough begins to take shape. Peace, clarity, and purpose arrive when you stop chasing and start allowing. Because chasing comes from the belief that something is missing, while allowing comes from the understanding that everything you need is already being prepared for you. When you chase, you run after validation, success, happiness, and approval with restless energy, always feeling behind, always feeling like you must catch up, always believing the next achievement will finally make you whole. But this constant pursuit keeps your mind noisy, your heart tense, and your vision clouded. Allowing does the opposite. It slows your inner world, steadies your emotions, and opens your awareness so you can actually recognize the opportunities, connections, and answers that have been around you all along. When you stop chasing, you stop living in reaction mode. You stop measuring your worth by external results and start building your identity from inner stability. Peace does not arrive when everything becomes perfect. It arrives when you stop demanding perfection from life and start trusting yourself within it. You begin to accept where you are without losing sight of where you're going. That balance creates calm confidence. Your decisions become clearer because they are no longer driven by panic or comparison. Your purpose becomes stronger because it is no longer shaped by pressure, but by intention. Allowing does not mean doing nothing. It means acting with patience, listening before forcing, observing before reacting. It means releasing the urgency that says you must have everything right now. In that release, your mind becomes quieter. Your focus sharpens. You notice what truly matters. You choose relationships that nourish you. You commit to goals that align with your values. You let go of distractions that drain your energy. Clarity grows because you're no longer scattered, chasing 10 directions at once. Purpose emerges when you stop trying to impress the world and start honoring your own growth. You realize that your journey is not a race, not a competition, not a performance. It is a process of becoming. And the more you allow yourself to grow at your own pace, the stronger and more authentic your path becomes. Life begins to meet you with the right people, the right opportunities, and the right lessons at the right time, not because everything suddenly becomes easy, but because you finally learned how to move with the current instead of fighting it. In that flow, peace settles into your mind, clarity guides your steps, and purpose fuels your future. And if this message helped you even a little, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.